Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm Jake, and today, here with me, the Streamy Boy, the Pun King, Steven.
Your resident streamboat captain. That's another one that I've said once before.
Streamboat captain?
You know, like a steamboat captain, but a stream instead of a steamboat.
Like Mickey in Steamboat Willie?
Yeah, like Streamboat Mickey. Call me that. Streamboat Mickey.
Streamboat Mickey. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like Dreamboat, but with stream, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not that vain. Hey guys, I'm here.
Wow, and this, if you didn't know, is Chortle Cast. It's a whole lot of things. This is our weekly podcast for the channel where we talk about TV shows, video games, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. It's kind of a free platform for us to just talk about what's going on in the week. And we've got a great show for you this week. We are going to be talking about some news from CD Projekt Red, talking about E3, what they're going to be bringing to E3. We're going to be talking about the new Red Dead Redemption trailer that came out this week. We're going to be talking about that new Antman and the Wasp trailer that happened this week. And then we're going to have a spoilery discussion about Avengers Infinity War at the tail end of this episode. So I will make sure to alert you, audio listeners and video watchers on YouTube, when we are going to have those discussions in case you haven't seen the movie. But it's been a full week. So get your act together. Go see it this weekend if you haven't seen it already.
Like, what are you doing that's more important than seeing the
Avengers Infinity War? What I'm saying. I mean, I pushed a lot of things to do Infinity War on Friday. So go see it. Go see it. Steven skipped the podcast last weekend to go see it. So
I did. For you guys. For all of you.
For all of you watching and listening at home. So anyway, Normally we start the show with a segment we call Catch Up. But Steven, it's been nose to the grindstone, man. I'm going on a big trip here later, so I've been editing every night. I haven't done anything. You've been working a lot, so
basically everything that I've been doing has been live on the channel. So it's like, hey, what have I been doing? I don't know. Go check out the last week of content.
Check the week of content. That's what Steven's been doing. I've had a little time to play God of War. Still a great game. Still surprising me. Probably 50 hours in or so. It is great. It's just great. So, but anyway, so in a landmark moment, we're going to skip catch up this week, and we're just going to roll right into the news. So, first things first, CD Projekt Red announced, I believe it was early this week, like Monday, that they are bringing a new RPG to E3 2018. Now, Steven, when you hear that, what do you think? Like, what is that automatically? You said it when we were prepping for the show.
I think surely that's got to be Cyberpunk, because we've been hearing about Cyberpunk for years.
Cyberpunk 2077. It was announced. I want to say it was in like 2014 or 15 or something.
It was long before Witcher 3 even came out.
Was it before Witcher 3 came out?
That it was announced, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So they did the trailer, and I'm pretty sure it's the only trailer that we have at this point. They did that, and then it was like 2 or 3 years of complete silence. And then I think it was this year or last year, there was a tweet that they sent out that was just beep. And that's all we've heard. And then recently, within the last few months, we've gotten some interviews from CD Projekt Red just saying that, you know, Cyberpunk is going well, they're working on it, blah, blah, blah. There'll be news later, there'll be news later, there'll be news later. I have assumed pretty much all year that Cyberpunk would be at E3 this summer. We are only a few weeks away from E3, by the way. Can we just take a moment to be like, what?
Don't do that. I didn't even.
The madness is coming. It's quickly approaching. But anyway, so yes, Steven, you would think that them saying an RPG at E3 would be Cyberpunk. My question to you is, why is their quote just new RPG at E3 2018? Like, why not just say, like, everyone, like, you have announced that Cyberpunk is a thing. People know that Cyberpunk is a thing. Why not just say Cyberpunk's coming?
Because it makes us talk about it like we're talking about it right now.
It could, well, that's a marketing ploy point.
By the way, it was announced in May 2012.
Golly. See, I wanted to say 2013, but I was like, no, that's way too long.
January 2013 was when the teaser trailer was released. Thank you.
And that's all we've seen. That's all we've seen.
I do know rumors have said that it might be an FPS, which is interesting to me because I do enjoy blending of RPG with FPS when it works well. I think that's a pretty cool blend. I personally think that with CD Projekt Red being the way they are, it's either going to be a Witcher spinoff that is not going to be that big of a undertaking to where they can just be like, yeah, we've been working on this under the table, or it's going to be Cyberpunk, because I haven't known CD Projekt Red. What I do know about them, I have not known them to be the ones that have juggled multiple projects. They're all in for fewer titles. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, because they're a smaller team, aren't they?
Yeah. So honestly, pretty much all they've ever done that I know of, and I really only know of them because of Witcher 3. But even looking into the past of what they have done and what they've worked on, they are pretty much the Witcher studio. As far as I know, if they do have anything else out there, it's something very small that did not do well.
Right.
Heck, even Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 are like cult classics. Like Witcher 2 did better than Witcher 1, and obviously Witcher 3 took the world by storm and really put the Witcher series and it put CD Projekt Red on the map.
Yep. It is widely considered to be one of the greatest games ever made, which is
absolutely. I saw a poll somewhere, it may have been Twitter, and it was Witcher 3 versus Breath of the Wild, which is better. And I just walked away. I was like, I don't even want to have to make this decision. It is an amazing game. I have not fully beaten everything. Yeah. I have played it hours and hours. I've replayed the whole story twice. I can't bring myself to finish all the things that I've got to do. Like Blood and Wine, I have not finished that story at all. That's the second DLC that came out. I still have ways to go in that, and it's just that I love it and I hate to see it end, so I just want to always have that little pocket that I haven't done that I can go back to. Anyway, I'm leaning towards what you just said, Steven. I am wondering if now that they're bigger, because I'm pretty sure with the success of Witcher, they've been able to grow their studio a little bit. I wonder if for the first time they're going to be working on multiple things. Obviously, Gwent is going on right now. So Gwent and Cyberpunk, they're already working on two things. So that's a huge change from the past. I think it would be so exciting if there was some sort of Witcher spinoff. And it's funny that you say that, because there has been talk recently, pretty much every time they interview CD Projekt Red, even to talk about Cyberpunk, they ask about The Witcher. Yep. Like, what's next for The Witcher? I remember there being an article, and one of the people with the studio was like, they've talked about doing things where like you are the Witcher, like where you create your character, and it's like in an age past when Witchers were like constantly happening. Mm-hmm. So it would be a create your own character, live in the world of the Witcher kind of game. That would be crazy. If they dropped that at E3, holy crap. That would be awesome.
Honestly, what I hope is the case, I honestly hope that it's not Cyberpunk that they're talking about. I hope that they're like, hey, this is this new game that we're working on. They drop a teaser like they did with Cyberpunk, and then people are going to be like, whoa, what about Cyberpunk? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, that releases this year. Like, what? How cool would that be? Because then they could be like, yeah, this game you guys have been waiting on that we've taken 5 years to make, or I guess 6 years, yeah, it's out this year, on to the next thing. Get hype about this next thing. There you go. That way they can stack their stuff, get people talking.
I don't know that it's going to happen like that, but I agree. I think it's going to be, here's Cyberpunk. Oh, by the way, here's that new RPG we were talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would love it if it happened that, like you're saying, like where it's just like, oh, yeah, and Cyberpunk's out this month or whatever.
Yeah.
First off, I love those kind of things anyway. Like those kind of marketing ploys are the best to me. Yep. But yeah, I could totally see them doing that. But I don't know, with this being a new IP essentially, I don't know. Something like that is what I hope for. But that's me living the dream over here, It's the year of dreams. I'm holding on hope. If Spyro can happen, this can happen. That's all I got to say. All right, let's move on. Red Dead Redemption new trailer dropped Wednesday. Yeah,
it was yesterday. Wednesday. Yeah,
it was like 2.5 minutes or something. This game is stupid pretty.
It is.
Like it is so, I can't get over how like detailed everything looks and how like real, not even real, just like cinematic everything looks.
Yep.
But the trailer was super, super story heavy.
Yep.
And I love it. There wasn't, to my knowledge, there wasn't any gameplay. Certainly, if there was gameplay, it was very cinematic moments.
Right.
But the story still seems like a prequel. It still seems like we saw John Marston, a young John Marston with his cuts that he has on his cheeks are fresh. So we're probably going to learn where those came from and all that sort of stuff. But it's very story heavy. We've had 2 trailers that have been very story heavy, and that excites me.
Absolutely.
This is not going to be GTA, where it's GTA has a story, but I don't really feel like that's why you play GTA, you know?
Right. And they did pad out the release of GTA Online when it first came out. So I'm hoping that's what they do with this game. I'm hoping that like they don't even talk about the multiplayer until the game has been out for a little while. That way they can be like, look, we made this awesome story. We want you guys to soak it in, finish it. Then we'll talk about Red Dead Online, which is coming. That's all you need to know.
Then we'll talk about how you can hog tie your friends to a train and watch them die.
Yes.
And all that good stuff. Drive chariots off over cliffs or whatever it was you guys did when you played Red Dead Online.
Chariots over cliffs after we spent 2 hours getting it. Every time.
Well, what did you had some interesting points after you watched it, because the trailer talks a lot about kind of like the end of the era for cowboys.
Right.
Which is, I just want to preface with, that's an interesting topic for like the prequel to another, to the one that we've already played that is a cowboy game. You know what I mean? It's almost like if this one is going to be about the end of the age of cowboys, it's kind of funny because the next game is still you're a cowboy. But I guess you are hunting down other cowboys.
Yeah. So the description, let me read you, I literally just pulled it up. The description that they put on the trailer. America, 1899. The end of the Wild West era has begun as lawmen hunt down the last remaining outlaw gangs. Those who will not surrender or succumb are killed. So I read that, and then I watched the trailer. And of course, it's me, so I made some weird parallels. But it reminded me of The Last Samurai, which is a fantastic movie. I love that movie. And in that movie, it is about basically the last clan of samurai in Japan as Japan is becoming more industrialized. The samurai don't want to give up their ways, and it's about the war of Japan being industrialized and trying to basically phase out the samurai and basically tell them that their time is over. And that's what that description made me think of, is like, holy crap, gunslingers and cowboys are the samurai of the West. You actually said that in the text, and I was like, that's so cool. But
it's a little, it's funny that is a great comparison to draw, but I feel like at least some cowboys are outlaws, whereas I don't feel like there were outlaw samurais. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be a samurai is to have a code.
Right.
And so it's like, if you think about it, outlaws and cowboys are basically the antithesis to a samurai, but the stories of them are similar.
Right.
In that, and I think this is what I said, this was my wording, was the story of legends living in a world where society and culture doesn't need legends. And that's kind of what it sounds like, is that this game is going to be about the dying out of the cowboy gunslinger kind of profession, and so it's going to be you versus the world,
right?
And that's kind of how it felt in Last Samurai, where it was you understand kind of your time is over, but you sympathize with them. You understand that this has been your livelihood, this has been your existence. You've defined yourself to this thing. You know nothing else. So what do you do with a man who is being told to move on to something that he's not? I thought that was really cool. And I think if they go through that kind of storytelling, I'm going to love it.
Right.
But that's just my weird parallel for the day.
I'm excited about that game. I'm excited to see gameplay now. Like, I just need one trailer that shows gameplay, and then I'm good. I don't need to see anything else.
I saw that you can dual wield pistols, and that's all I needed.
Yes.
I just want to be a dual wield gunslinger.
And obviously, we know there's a bow. I want to see some bow combat. I want to know how that works. That's all I need to see at this point. I just want to see one trailer of gameplay, and then I'm good. I'm ready to roll. This comes out in October, so we're getting closer and closer every day. But just how pretty it is. I just can't get over watching the whole trailer. That's what I was just like. I kept being like, this just almost like it almost looked so realistic that it was like off-putting. You know, like it's just so hyper real cinematic. I don't know. Like the people felt big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are a lot of shots that are really close up on the people, and they just feel huge. And it's like they're there, you know? So, I don't know. I'm really excited to see more of this game, but I love where the story's headed. I can't wait to see how John Marston is going to tie into it. I can't wait to see how our main protagonist ties into John Marston. Is he going to be kind of a mentor? Is he going to be an adversary? Like it was so crazy how in Red Dead Redemption, spoilers for Red Dead Redemption, but like you die at the end, you know? And that was such an iconic moment, at least for me in video games. Like that had never happened to me before, where the game killed me off. So I'd love to see how they subvert that, where the character you played last time in the first game is suddenly your enemy, you know? Yeah. Like, how would that play out?
And honestly, I hope, just bringing back parallels to Last Samurai, I hope that the way this game goes is I hope that it's a main character that you play as and a supporting cast that you love, that you grow attached to. Like a group from anywhere between like 5 and 10 other outlaws. And I hope the game ends with a gut-wrenching majority or all of them chose death over bending to the will of their society.
Yeah.
That I love endings like that. Like the ending of Last Samurai, spoilers real quick if you haven't seen it. If you haven't, what are you doing? Go watch it. It's amazing. The film ends with a final battle against the new Japanese army that has rifles, cannons, Gatling guns, all of it. And the samurai are putting up their best fight. They're all dying with honor, choosing this is my way of life. I will not give my honor in favor of, I will not take life over sacrificing my honor. And it ends with a final charge on horseback where they all just get mowed down. And Tom Cruise is there with Katsumoto, the leader of the clan. And Tom Cruise's character assists him in seppuku, so he can do ritual suicide. And it was just one of those moments that it was really powerful because it was like, dang, their convictions were more important to them than their own lives. And I want to see something like that through these, because I love endings like that. I want to see something like that through these characters where they sacrifice for something. I don't want to see these guys have a happy ending.
Right.
Maybe I'm awful for that. But.
No, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be a great game. All right. In the vein of trailers, we also got a trailer for Antman and the Wasp this week. And I wish I could have seen it before I filmed my theory video, but it pretty much it didn't contradict anything I said, thank goodness. It only really supported what I said. If you haven't seen that theory video, it's on our YouTube. It talks about what I think Doctor Strange did in their moments of prep time, and it's going to affect Ant-Man and Captain Marvel, and obviously have some tie-ins with Avengers 4, but I wouldn't really call it an Avengers 4 theory. But anyway, you can check that out. It's called the Endgame Theory on our channel. But anyway, let's talk about the Ant-Man versus the Wasp. Or God, I keep saying that, versus the Wasp. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. The trailer was very funny. It still has that humor that we saw in Ant-Man 1. But what did you think of it, Steven?
I love Paul Rudd as Scott Lang. One of my favorite casts.
So good, yes.
He's one of those guys that it's impossible to hate him. He's so dang likable. I like the way, the direction that they're going with the action and the humor and stuff. I'm glad they haven't lost their small things big is hilarious motif. Like the giant Hello Kitty Pez dispenser, I think is hilarious. The biggest laugh when I saw the first Ant-Man in the theater was the epic train fight scene, and it just got to full size and then it just fell over. I want them to use more of that humor, but the Wasp is so annoying.
She's so naggy.
She's so naggy.
Is what it's like.
And it's like, it's one of those things where I have female protagonists can often annoy me, not because they're female protagonists, but because they're written in such a way to where the writer is treating me like I need to be told, hey, feel bad because you don't already like this character. You know, like they have to oversell a character to me, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I actually really enjoyed Scarlet Witch in Avengers Infinity War, and I never disliked her because she walked a path that got her to where she is.
Right.
If that makes sense. Ant-Man and the Wasp, we know that she can fight, but my God, does every single scene with her and Ant-Man in it have to be her nagging Scott and basically making him look like an idiot? So they're a team, so be a team.
Exactly. So that's what I think is interesting about the teaser that we got a few months ago and this trailer now. Because in that teaser, I thought, man, the Wasp is going to be awesome. I was like, I didn't really like her in the first movie, but I'm really digging what this teaser is showing us. Because it was action. She was being supportive-ish in the very beginning moments where she was like, what are we going to do? You know, we had to run for you. Like, what's our next move? And then even the daughter being like, "You need a partner," which she said this in here, but I didn't feel the same way as I did in the teaser. Because the teaser, I was like, "Yeah, they're going to be partners or whatever." But she says that line in the trailer, and then it's followed up with a naggy line where she's like, "I can do this better with you," or whatever. So it seems like, based on that contradiction, I feel like the movie is going to be a lot about them growing to work together, and growing to accept each other. I don't know that we'll get any kind of romance. I sort of think and hope. Personally, I ship them. I hope they would end up together, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. But either way, I think this movie is a lot going to be about them learning to work together and accept each other how they are. But I don't know.
And that's okay. I think that's important. But I just don't want them to overly try to make it her movie. Yeah. It's their movie. That's just how it should be.
Well, and I know they've talked about I can't remember who was in the interview, but I want to say it was Kevin Feige, but I just feel like it's always Kevin Feige talking about how important it was to get Wasp. Like I think they were talking about how she was originally in a cut of the first Avengers.
Yep. Joss Whedon wrote her in the first
because
Avengers,
she is a classic Avengers hero.
She's a founding member.
Exactly. More so than Ant-Man even.
Yep.
So I get their wanting to make her cool and wanting to put her in it, but yeah, right now she's kind of a naggy, no fun hero who I hope by the end of this movie will still be cool, and it's fine that she's like a no an all business honed in what we're doing, but like she's got to tone it down a little bit.
Maybe that's the problem with me, is that the Wasp has never been like badass action hero. She's always been like very useful, intelligent, good in a fight, but she's never been like punch her way out of all of her problems badass. Like that's not who she's supposed to be. And I'm afraid the spirit of the character is going to get lost in that to create an unnecessary contrast, because there is no problem with having two fun characters be on the same team and drive a movie.
Yeah.
There's really not.
Yeah.
Whatever. What do I know? I'm just a consumer that consumes all Marvel things.
Hey, there you go. That's right. That's all we are. We're just consumers. Consumers in the corporate wheel. So the other thing, some interesting notes from the trailer. The building that shrinks down, I think it must be more important than we think it is. because it showed up a lot in this trailer. In the teaser, as far as I can remember, there's just the one scene where he shrinks it down, he pulls out the roller and starts moving, which is a funny moment. But in this scene, we see, I forget his first name, but Cross, the guy who's with Cross Corp or whatever. He was one of the villains in Iron Man 2, the guy who got the Iron Man suits for the military. Do you remember him? I think it was Cross.
Cross was the guy in Antman 1.
Was he?
That was Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, that's Yellow Jacket. I don't think that was Cross. Whoever it was. There's a scene where it's in the very beginning where he's like scooting down on the truck, and he catches up to that van, and you see a shot of somebody holding something. It's not. I want to say. I almost said Ulysses Cross, but that's not right. He's from Iron Man 2, and he stole some tech from Iron Man. It looks like now he's trying to steal Pym tech, which is just an interesting note. But he's got that building in that scene.
Yeah, I just saw it.
So is it Cross? What's his name? Do you know?
I've never seen that guy in the MCU before.
I feel like it's I'm gonna have to look it up because I feel stupid now. Ant-Man trailer breakdown. I forget. I know it's Cross something, but anyway, that suitcase building seems like it's going to be important.
Yep.
There's also a scene with Hank Pym going into the quantum realm, and he's got like a spaceship.
Yep.
So travel to the quantum realm for them at this point seems like it's no problem.
Right.
I mean, if he's going in with a spaceship, I feel like that's not like a one-time here we go, make it or lose it or whatever. I almost feel like Hank Pym's going to have been mapping the quantum realm almost since the first movie, and since he found out it is possible to get back out. So I'm really excited, especially based on my theory that Captain Marvel is somewhere in the quantum realm hiding. Right. I'm really curious to see where that all goes. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting about this trailer is there are a lot of things that can shrink and grow now. Like in the first movie, it was pretty much just Ant-Man, and he had a couple pieces of gear that he would like grow things, or shrink things. But like, there's a car, the van that they use that can shrink and grow, and it shrinks the people in the building or whatever's in it. And then it grows back and whatever. Like, it seems like they have a lot more vehicles and like things that can shrink and grow at will, which is interesting.
That could be really cool, though.
I've got to find out who I'm talking about, because I'm pretty sure, this is just a factor of how crazy this week has been, and how crazy everything is. Because I had wanted to rewatch both trailers that we've talked about before we started the podcast, and that just didn't happen because too many other conversations were going on and whatnot. But overall, Steven, what are you excited about for this to see in this movie? What do you think is going to happen based off what we've seen?
I'm curious. I hope we see Hawkeye. I hope he shows up, even if for a cameo.
I do too.
There were rumors early on that he would, but they shot down those rumors. So I don't know. But
say that again.
They shot down those rumors, so I don't know if he'll be in it.
Oh, about Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was reading something, so I probably said something that I didn't mean to say. But I love Ant-Man.
I feel like he's got to make a cameo.
Yeah.
He's got to make a cameo in one of them. So hang on, I'm listening and trying to figure this out.
I've got the character's name.
Who is it?
Sonny Birch.
That's the character?
That's the character played by Walton Goggins. who was holding the suitcase in the car when Ant-Man was coming up next to him.
All right, hang on. I gotta make sure this is what I heard right, because I'm really confused now.
Yeah. It's so hot in here.
It's hot in here too. It always gets hot during the podcast for us.
Well, I just want to see more Ant-Man.
Okay. That's what it is. The name of the character you just said works for Cross Technologies.
Oh.
I misunderstood when I was watching through some breakdowns. So he works for Cross, and that's where it's so. Anyway, it's a connection though between Iron Man and that is what I was getting at. I totally forgot to mention though the main villain, Ghost, though, who's going to be in this one. She seems awesome.
Yeah.
With her like phasing abilities and everything.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where she plays into it all, and I feel like there was something. She's somehow connected to the quantum realm as well, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So
I could see that happening.
I don't know. I'm really because as I understand it from the trailer, it looked like she stole some technology that he's using to get in and out of the quantum realm. So I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting to me, and I think this is very much going forward into Phase 4. The quantum realm is going to become very important because we're seeing it here in Ant-Man. Regardless of how it plays into Captain Marvel, whether I'm right or wrong, we know that it's going to be in Captain Marvel and be a huge part of Captain Marvel.
Right.
And Kevin Feige has said before that the next phase is multiverse. And kind of like that's the next thing that we do. And the quantum realm has kind of been used interchangeably when they've talked about multiverses and like multi-realms and stuff. So
Right.
So I'm really interested to see how they double down on the quantum realm in this movie and in the next and in 4. I don't know if that'll somehow stop Thanos, if they'll use the quantum realm to stop him somehow, but that would be interesting. Also, just random thought, what if Avengers 4 was called Avengers Multiverse?
Ooh. That'd be cool.
Just a thought, throwing it out there. Anyway, good Jake way. Bro, Steven, let's talk about our thoughts of Avengers Infinity War. Full spoilers. We're going to talk about what we thought of the movie. No punches held. Just full on what happened, what did we think, what did we like, what did we not like. Which for me is I liked a lot, and probably Steven, he liked a lot, but not as much as I did. So
Hey now.
I'm the sugar, you're the salt. Here we go. But yeah, let's dive in. I'll start. I loved it.
Yep.
I don't know that I have anything that I didn't like. The one thing I kind of didn't like, and I'm trying to remember how I worded it, is I did feel a little bit like it was spread just a little too thin.
Yep.
But for the most part, I think they did a better job than anyone ever has, and really probably the best they could have done.
Right.
With how many actors they were having to juggle, how many story plot lines they had to juggle in one movie. I thought they did a fantastic job, but I do feel like a lot of the movie was trimmed down to here's awesome moment A with this group, here's awesome moment B or A with this group, here's awesome moment A with this group, and then it was just like, okay, here's B, here's C, here's D, boom, movie's over. And there wasn't like any meat. It was always like a moment, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Which led to a lot of great moments, but not. I don't know if any of the character development moments that are spread throughout. You know,
people have said that this is Thanos' movie.
Yeah, and it very much is.
That's why Thanos has all of the moments. To me, and I think I said this before it even came out on a podcast a couple months ago. The entire movie is like a third act.
Yeah.
And I think what they were going for, and if this is what they were going for, they absolutely knocked it out of the park and succeeded. Very few of the hero characters have much depth or emotional development, but they're not supposed to, because
we've already seen them.
We've already seen it. Like, this is the culmination of everything, of all of the attachment we've already grown towards them. We didn't need to be shown why Wanda and Vision were a thing, because we got to see them kind of become a thing all the way from Age of Ultron with some subtle hints, and then Civil War we got to see even more. And so we didn't need that development because it was understood. It was implied. Most of the heart from the heroes came from Star-Lord and Gamora. And I thought they handled that stuff pretty well because, again, we didn't need to be shown why they were in love. We had 2 movies of why they were in love. So I think for someone who ingests as much Marvel as I do, it was everything it needed to be, because I didn't want another movie telling me this is what's going to happen, because this movie is what's going to happen. It's what we've been told ever since Avengers 1 to build towards. And so sure it wasn't it was style over substance, if you want to call it that. For this movie, I'm 100% okay with it because they've earned that movie.
Right. All the substance is everything else. This is the big moment you've been waiting for. And that's not to say there's no substance in this. There is.
Right.
It's just, it's more, what'd you call it? Style over substance?
Style over substance,
It's a lot more style than there is substance. But style, when you're full of substance, all you want is the dessert, right?
Right.
Like that's all you want. So we had a big dessert plate with a little bit of chips or whatever and salsa, to fill in the rest of it. But no, I agree. That's
and I mean, there was even substance where I didn't expect to see substance. I talked to Eric, who did the post viewing stream with me. We had 3 make or break things that we could each say. One of my make or breaks, like what would make this movie even better, what would make this movie awful for you. One of my things was the Guardians better be more than just there. And holy crap, they were integral, and I loved that. My other thing, Doctor Strange. Depends on how they portray him, and oh my God, Jake.
They nailed it. That fight scene against him and Thanos, where like the arms come out, he does the duplication spell, like
he does the tendrils of Sidorak. Like he does, he does all the different spells. He turns big attacks into butterflies. Like, oh my God, he went toe to toe with Thanos and held his ground. He felt like the Sorcerer Supreme there. I don't even know if he is the Sorcerer Supreme yet, but that's
probably
the Doctor
not. But yes, that's the next movie is him becoming that for sure,
And it will. And I understand a lot of people's complaints. One of my complaints with Doctor Strange, the movie, was that he didn't feel like Doctor Strange. The answer to that is, well, he's not supposed to. It was an origin movie.
It was very much an origin, yeah.
And this, getting to see, this is who we have now, makes the first movie all worth it, because now I know they've nailed him as a sorcerer. That is that's the new standard for Doctor Strange for me.
Right. And while we're on this kind of topic of just awesome battles, so there's that. We saw the Iron Spider suit in full-fledged action. I love that. They better have that in the suit in the game. And that was awesome. But then Iron Man really was one character who just kind of blew my mind with how much he was doing on a scale. Because his whole nanobot suit that could pretty much just create whatever he needed at any given time was way crazy.
Yeah,
and obviously we're probably not going to ever have another just solo Iron Man movie again. I'm knocking on something because I don't know that. But if we did have a solo Iron Man movie, there's no way they could top anything that happened that he did in this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it's a version of the Bleeding Edge armor, which in the comics, Bleeding Edge is armor that is in his bloodstream through nanobots that he can just make seep over to his skin. I've been wanting that armor since Iron Man 2. I've been saying, because I was like, oh, holy crap, this armor sounds awesome. Yeah. And he finally had it, and holy crap, it was amazing. It was everything I wanted it to be. they can't go back.
Yeah, I mean,
less.
well, that's what I see. I feel like from now on it will always just be an iteration of that. But like, yeah, I don't know how Iron Man could be any more powerful than what he was in that, other than adding more nanobots, because he just ran out. That's what happened.
Yep.
God, that was just the coolest scenes with him. Because everyone else, like even oh gosh, Star-Lord had some cool fight moments there with Doctor Strange and everything, but like Doctor Strange fighting one-on-one with Thanos was on a whole nother level. Iron Man fighting with him was on a whole nother level. What's his name? Thor was on a whole nother level.
Holy crap,
this movie,
Thor.
Like, at this point, we have seen a level of power from them that I don't know. We now know what their top is.
Yeah.
How in another solo movie can they not be at their top and not just absolutely annihilate whoever they fight? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, though. The only one that we know is getting another solo movie for sure is Doctor Strange.
I have said my biggest theory, and let's just transition to this.
Okay.
Half everybody dies. You know? Pretty much. Did the Hulk go? I can't remember.
The original Avengers are all alive.
Okay, that's what I thought. But a buddy of mine said since Bruce Banner died, he thinks that Black Widow is going to have to die to bring him back, which I don't get that. But I was like, wait a minute, did Hulk die? Because I've been saying the OG Avengers, are still around because I thought all of them were still good.
Yeah, they were.
But anyway, okay, well, yeah, half of them are gone. We're left with the OG Avengers and Rocket and like a couple other side people.
Yep.
I don't think anyone who's alive now, which is the OG Avengers, is gonna be alive at the end of 4.
Really?
And if they are not dead, they are out of commission. Mm-hmm. And not even out of commission, like I mean out of access from the universe. Like, one of my kind of like just, here's what I'm guessing is going to happen. If they stop Thanos, in the comics, I found out, I've been reading a little bit today, I found out that Adam Warlock formed something called the Infinity Watch.
Yep.
And as I understood it, it was a group of people who, I don't know if they took possession of an individual stone to protect, or if they just had authority over the gauntlet or what, but it was like a council. I wouldn't be surprised if that council is formed, and it involves Tony, it involves all the OG Avengers except for maybe Hulk. I wouldn't be surprised if all or most of those were put on that council and just pushed into the quantum realm.
Yep.
And never heard from again. Their sole purpose in life is to protect the gauntlet, and we never really hear from them again until like Avengers 5 or 6, that's like way down the road. They come in and it's one of those moments like, oh my gosh, it's all these people. And it may not even be the same actors at that point,
Yep.
That's what I think. It's not what I want to happen at all. I want them to all renew contracts and keep going. But I understand the reality of that is not, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, as I understand it, has wanted to quit after every movie he's been in. So,
but that may have changed with Ragnarok.
Well, that's why I bring that up, because there's an interview with him after Ragnarok saying, I wanted to quit after 2, but then they brought me 3's script, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is different. I think I could get on board with this. And so he said, if they come back with a Thor 4 and say, hey, we're going to try something a little different. He's like, as long as we can keep these interesting, I'll keep doing it. But, so, and that's true. Like, I mean, we talk about it all the time, when does something have to end before it goes bad, I don't think we've gotten there with the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet, but There's that question in the back of everybody's mind is how long can this go, before people start dropping out, before it doesn't make sense anymore,
Mm-hmm. And
so,
the formula's got to change, but they've been changing the formula. So
Exactly. So I don't know. I feel like probably Black Widow's probably not going to go out because she hasn't had her own movie yet, so she may stay around. I think Steve Rogers would be one who would go onto that council or just disappear or die.
Yeah.
as much as I think Robert Downey Jr. loves the role of Iron Man, I wouldn't be surprised if he went on to do something like if he was still in the universe somewhere, but he wasn't like, I don't know, locked in. But I hope of all the people who could survive based on actor, I feel like he's the most likely to want to stick with it and to want to keep going.
I feel like he'll live and be on retainer in case they're like, hey, Downey, we need to sell this new character. Come be in this movie.
Right. And then he'll be in the Avengers. He'll be in all the other Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's, that's an... I forget what we transitioned from to get to this question. But
Infinity War, your theory. Back to... you talked about Iron Man and Thor and Doctor Strange having their big action scenes.
Yes,
I just want to rep my boy Star-Lord real quick. He took on in open combat both Spider-Man and Iron Man, and technically took down both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the fun. I still think about that line where it's like, "Where is Gamora?" And then Strange is like,
"I'll do you one better."
I'll do you one better. Who is Gamora? And then Drax is like, "Oh, I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?" It's like, what? So,
Drax, I'm happy with how they did Drax because he actually fought. He was true to his character. He had a nice blend of his comic persona as well as his movie persona. Like, he actually threw some punches, held his own, which is all that I asked for. And, like, his scenes were hilarious. Like, the scene where he was standing there eating the nuts or whatever, and I don't know why, but when they asked him, they were like, how long have you been standing there? You expect him to say something like, oh, since you said this, but he just comes out and says, an hour. And Drax doesn't know how to lie. So he was there for an hour.
Oh, man.
Like, yes. That killed me. I laughed so freaking hard.
Yeah, and then I like him and Mantis saying, we kick butt and take name or something like that. What did they take
names and take butts or something?
Yeah, that's what it is. Kick names and take butts. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of great humor moments. I thought Spider-Man was awesome. I like how he beat Ebony Maw. Basically, he was like, because Tony
really
was
funny.
just like, he was like, okay, kid, you're here. What would you do? And he's like, have you seen that movie Alien? And then that happens, and he beats him. You know, like that worked. Like if Iron Man hadn't have been there, that's probably what Spider-Man would have done, and that. Doctor Strange would be fine. Yeah, he would have been fine. So I really like how Spider-Man is really coming along, and he proved why he should be there a lot. You know.
So I we talked about this a little bit. I had some problems with the way they portrayed Star-Lord.
Right.
I didn't like how he had zero respect from his team, even though they've been a team for 4 years at this point.
Right.
Maybe like between 4 and 6 years. And they treated his leadership like a joke. And one of the things I like about Star-Lord, comics and somewhat in movies, is that he is an unconventional guy who is actually a really good leader. I like that characteristic about him. And in this movie, it was like, you're funny for thinking Star-Lord's a leader. They turned it into a joke. I didn't like that. I understand it, didn't like it. But I will say they redeemed that with one thing. And that is when they subdued Thanos. Yeah. And Star-Lord flies in and says, my plan, by the way. If that is true, which I believe it is, because it was very much a Guardian's plan. Because it was very deceptive, a lot of trickery. That felt like a Star-Lord plan. So the fact that they were like, hey, this plan that almost worked, that was Star-Lord's idea. Nothing that Tony had was better than what Star-Lord had. I love that. But again, that was very quick, and you could have missed it in the subtext. But we talked about how I had a problem with him ruining the plan, and I think I know what my problem is with that scene now.
Okay.
I think my problem is that everyone seemed to know that he was going to ruin the plan, and so their motivation wasn't Star-Lord, come help us. Their motivation was they all seemed to know, hey, if you do this, you're going to mess everything up, even though it was an accident. And so it was almost like everyone knew better than him, even though it was like coincidence moment, if that makes sense. Like, he was made to look like the fool just because everyone seemed to know, oh, if you hit him, you're going to also hit Mantis, and it's going to throw this thing out of whack. I don't know. Nitpicks. But
so that brings me to so when I watched the movie, I thought I as much as I knew how bad that was going to mess up everything when he punched him, I in the moment thought that was very much what this Star-Lord would have done.
Yeah,
just a few movies ago when Ego said and spoilers for Guardians 2, but you should have seen that by now. Spoilers for any Marvel movie.
And all the Marvel. Yeah.
Ego says, oh well, it hurt me so much to put that brain cancer in your mom. Peter didn't ask another question. He didn't say another thing. He just immediately unloaded his cannons onto Ego. Just completely blew him apart. And so I knew in that moment when he was doing this to Thanos that was about to happen, and it was going to ruin everything in this situation.
I honestly wish they would have done it in a similar way to where he shot him instead, and they could have made it work the same way, because that would have felt, and again, nitpicks. I'm not questioning that the characters didn't act in character, because James Gunn actually wrote the dialogue for the Guardians.
Right.
So it all felt authentic because it was.
It was.
But I don't know. I just wish that specific scene would have gone differently. But I think it was supposed to be one of those things to where when framing the scene itself, the Avengers, or I guess Tony and everybody else being like, no, stop. They are the surrogate for us. And us basically saying, no, you're going to mess it up. We know you're going to mess it up. So I get that now that I'm thinking about it. Like, it was probably more of just a emotional framing of the scene to give us an in.
Well, so here's another question, and I'm wondering if this is an acting decision and a director direction decision. We know, and I talk about this a little bit in my theory video, but we know that there was a moment where Doctor Strange looks into the future. He says, "There's one way we win." Since they didn't immediately kill Thanos then or stop him, I feel like it's safe to say that the one way they win involved them trying, but knowing they would lose.
Did you notice that Doctor Strange wasn't helping when Star-Lord beat him up?
Yes. I wonder if a lot of that was acting on the characters in the movie pretending, because hang on, my headphone died.
Yep.
Here we go. I'm switching, doing a switcheroo. I wonder if that was a choice to make to make it look real, look authentic, and really show Thanos that they're trying, but ultimately they know they're going to have to give up. And we've talked about this before about at the end, Doctor Strange gives up the Time Stone. Not even hours ago, he had told Tony and Spider-Man, if it comes down to it, I will die, and I will let all of you die before I let him have this stone.
Right.
As much as I'd like to say, I think Doctor Strange grew to respect and appreciate these people, I don't think that's what happened. I think they had to put on a good act so that Thanos would think they resisted, and he beat them. And then they give it to him, he wins, so that in the next movie, the end game that we've talked about can work, which in my theory is Captain Marvel's been hidden away. She's going to come in. They're going to form the team that's going to beat him, and they're going to beat him.
So here's what I think. Kind of in the vein of that, there's one moment that makes me really think that they weren't acting, and that is when Thanos goes through the portal and Star-Lord says, "Did we just lose?"
Well, here's what I was going to ask, too. Do you think just Iron Man and Doctor Strange and maybe Spider-Man had this conversation?
I don't know.
Do you think it was just that core, the New York team, if you will? Do you think just they had that conversation and were like, look, guys, put on a good show, but we've got to lose. We're going to lose, And just didn't include the Guardians?
I think that if anything, I think Strange was the only one that didn't know, that did know that they were going to lose. Because the fact that, I mean, he's a sorcerer. If like, I think he would have been in there helping, trying to get the gauntlet off or doing something else. Because he was holding the tendrils to hold back one of his arms, but still, like, the fact that he was completely absent for that exchange, and I've only seen it once, so maybe it cut to him and he had a nervous look or something, but I don't remember a single shot of Strange when Star-Lord is going to beat up Thanos and everything. I just remember Stark trying to hold him back, everyone else trying to hold him back, Mantis falling off, and Strange not being involved whatsoever. I think that he knew this sucks, but this is what has to happen.
Yep.
And he let it happen. And I think he was the only one that knew that was the case. If that is the case.
That's possible too. Too. And I wonder if that's part of it is because he knows that the plan, like the course of action that he needs to happen on the timeline won't happen if he tells them the plan.
Right.
So anyway, well, look, we could talk about this for days. We could almost dedicate a whole podcast to it, but that's just a couple of our thoughts about it. Steven, you're working on another theory video for us about what's going to happen in Avengers 4.
Right. And so basically the way that's going to look is it's going to be a little bit of what's going to happen within the movie itself, but it's more so going to be about the characters and their journeys. Like, I'm going to talk about Hawkeye a lot. I've got a lot of thoughts on Hawkeye. I'm going to mention, of course, people like Captain America, Iron Man. But I am going to have a separate video that has to do with my thoughts on how they could give Captain America a proper send-off.
Yeah.
But look forward to the Avengers 4, what's next.
What's next for the Avengers?
Yeah.
The Avengers, the Multiverse, or whatever it's going to be called.
Calling it right now. Here's some of my tentative titles. Avengers Forever. Avengers Endgame, Avengers Forever, of course, Avengers Assemble.
Could be.
I think that's what it was called in the UK, though, like the first one. So I don't think they'd do that. But
see, we had discussed this a little bit. I threw one out there kind of as a joke, but now that I think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Is Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes? Mm-hmm. Because they've talked about, and you told me this, but they've talked about how the title is going to have a lot to do with just the heart of the whole series as a whole.
Yep.
And even though that's just kind of the subline for what the Avengers are, I really feel like it does have a lot to do with what all of these movies have been about. But we'll find out, so be sure to check that out. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a few things you can do to help us out. We are on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can leave us a comment on this video. Let us know what you thought about all the topics we talked about. Are you excited for Red Dead? Are you excited about the Avengers? Are you excited about Antman? Who do you think CD Projekt Red's going to be talking about at E3? You can do all that there, and we'll comment back and read those. If you're a podcast listener, you can leave us a nice review on iTunes. That really helps the channel or the podcast get found through their system. If you don't want to contact us that way, you can email us at chortlecast@gmail.com. You can send in news stories that you'd like to hear us talk about or topics that you'd like to hear us discuss. We'll get those and we'll look them over and see if we can fit them into the schedule. And then you can always tweet us at Chortle Games on Twitter, and you can also find us on Facebook at Chortle Games. We also have a Twitch that we stream to occasionally, mostly on Fridays and Saturdays when we're doing those streams. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. So thank you, Steven, again for being on the podcast. We've got a great lineup for next week. Monday, we're going to kick off with, let me say this. We're going to be streaming 2 streams tonight. If you're watching live, that's Friday. We're doing For Honor, and then we're doing something else. We're not sure what the other thing is yet. It may just be Steven, so probably some Far Cry solo stuff, going through some more of the story, or just playing around kind of in the open world solo. Saturday, we do 2 streams as well. Right now, we've got Far Cry Arcade. We're going to be doing some more fan-made maps because we that's been going well for us the past few weeks, and we've got a couple requests already lined up. And then we're going to be doing some Fortnite Season 4. So it may just be me and Steven. We're trying to see if we can get Miles or Brody in on that. But either way, we're just going to play through, check out some of the new stuff that's there. I've got some new suits already, so we can show off a little bit of that. And then our regular schedule Monday. This Monday, we're going to be doing A Way Out. We're going to be in part 7, so we're getting close to the end now. This episode is going to be us going to the hospital, and there's supposedly a really funny F the Oscars line hidden in the hospital somewhere, so we're going to have to find that. But anyway, that's going to be Monday. Tuesday, Steven's got his XCOM live stream going on. Last 2 episodes have been crazy. Yes. I've been able to pretty much watch the full of the last couple. My character is a god at this point. Yeah. So it's good luck to all those people who want to be Soldier of the Week, because it's going to be me all the time, baby. But yeah, you can tune into that. You can actually be a part of that series if you want to comment your a first name and a last name, a nickname, and a class that you'd like your character to be in the game. Steven will put you in it, and you can tune in on Tuesday and see your character go into action and see if they live or die, or how they die, or what they do. There's a lot of epic moments that have happened already, so... the people who are already involved in that have a lot of fun with that every Tuesday. So on Wednesday, it's going to be me and Steven doing a Let's Play. It's a VR Let's Play. It's called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. It's an older game at this point, but it's so much fun. It's basically somebody's in VR and they've got a bomb, and then someone outside of VR who cannot see the bomb has a manual, and they have to communicate to defuse the bomb before it blows up on the person in VR. So I was in VR. Steven was my bomb defusal representative. And I only intended this to be 1 episode, and it turned into 2 because it was manic and funny, and so it's a good time. It's a lot of us screaming. We argue a little bit, so it's a good time. Thursdays we do our couch co-op live stream. We usually that's always a last minute down to the wire what we're going to play then, but we always try to do a co-op game, and we typically try to make it couch co-op where we're literally sitting on the couch at Steven's house with a couple people. We typically will do face cam for that one, but we try to keep it to a co-op game where all the action's happening on one screen, everybody all together. So yeah, so that's on Thursday. And then Friday, we'll have another podcast, 2 more live streams on Friday, and 2 more live streams on Saturday. So a lot going on happening on the channel. If you like what you saw here, be sure to like the podcast and subscribe to the channel. And then also subscribe to us on iTunes. That helps out the channel on that front as well. So, Steven, thank you for being on, man. Any last words for our beloved fans?
Beloved fans, it's hot in this room.
It is so hot.
I am dying. Send help.
We're going to melt away. Send help. We'll see you next time.